Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. My name is Wakata, and today we are picking up right where we left off, resuming our search for hard drives throughout the Dunes Desert, hoping to find that elusive cast screw recipe. You know, we really want to get that because it eliminates a lot of machines from the screw manufacturing chain, and I want to get that building right there upgraded, and I don't want to have to put all those machines in there. So we're going to pick up right where we left off, go back to the Dunes Desert, keep looking for hard drives. In fact, the last hard drive that we stuck in there is still going. We are literally picking up where we left off. And when we get back, I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to look to establish where we're going to do our steel products, because the next thing I want to manufacture or automate will be stators, which we're going to need those for the last part of the space elevator before we can move on to the next milestones. Now we have a lot to do before we need to send the space elevator up, because we have a number of steel products still to manufacture, and I still want to get an assembler building up and running. But it gives us a good path to go because we're going to need them anyway. And yeah, so that's going to be it. We're going to find a space and start building those today. Let's open this MAM here. And come on, cast screws. No cast screws. Oh no, we do not need more quick wire. We don't need more quartz. All right, solid steel ingot. Oh, this is actually not bad. Is this compact coal? No, the regular coal. Oh, this is not bad at all. So it appears here what we're doing is we're replacing raw iron ore for iron ingots, which isn't a big deal, right? That's some smelters, right? We throw in some smelters before the iron ore gets to the foundry, and we just turn it into ingots. And it's still 1-for-1, or a ratio here, one ingot, one ore for one coal. But it's no longer a 1-for-1 for steel. It's 2-for-3. So we're getting a 50% increase in the output. That would really help, and it would minimize the impact on our current design. All right, that's not bad. We'll explore the math necessary to upgrade that area later. We're not going to focus on that this episode, but that's going to be useful. All right, last hard drive that we had with us. Oh, come on. Don't fail me, baby. All right, we're not going to wait on that. We're going to get out of here and get going. And just resume scouring the desert. I think there's an orange block up there. We're back in the desert. I hadn't recorded for a time lapse because I was still going. You see, we've already mapped this area out, but I was just going a little closer to the water here to see if there was anything in the grass. And I saw the little black box off to the left, and then you probably can't see it from here. See, there's a black box right there. That's wreckage. And there's a little orange off to the left of it. Let me fight for my life here and see if we can find a way up to it real quick. Come on. Hey, buddy. Come. Oh, fine. Rather than looking for a way up, we'll just zoop our way. No reason to connect it to the ground, because if I connect it to the ground, then something can run up after me. Yeah, there we are, orange. Oh, the other one's done. Okay. Oh, it's defended. I hear shots. All right, let me fight for my life here, and we'll get back. All right, let's try this again. Oh, Is he in the terrain? Okay, he is in the terrain. I saw him poke his head out that wall. There he is. See? We're not gonna use this to shield us. Come on. Easy stuff. Oh. Rotor. Alright, buddy, you get to live another day, because I'm not trying to shoot through walls. I hear growling. Oh. Alright. We didn't want that slug anyway. Psych. Alright. Ma'am time. Cast screws, give us cast screws, give us cast screws. Cast screws! We didn't have to come all the way out here. Our last hard drive got it. Fuse quick wire, don't care. Oh, quick wire stator. Oh, this would be nice. We have those two things being brought together in the same place already. All right, we got another hard drive, so we'll hit this one. So I haven't been recording for the purposes of high speed because it was covering territory we've already covered. Oh, there we go. I saw this. That's a boss right there. By the way, running them over doesn't actually hurt them. And I started recording because if you see a boss, he's protecting something. But I think it's probably that yellow slug right there. I'm wondering if I can use the vehicle as a blocker long enough to get that slug. Obviously, they've set this up for them to charge and knock you off into the void. On. Woo! Alright. I think we'll be into new territory fairly soon. I went around the river. And we'll head down here. Excellent. Another drive. Oop, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to disassemble. All right, I think we're going to head back home. I'm looking at the map. This is all plateaus and not good terrain for driving. I'm going to try to kind of make my way through there as much as I can, but it's probably going to be a lot of my just running into stuff, getting a little stuck and trying to find paths around. And, you know, I think we've done enough on-camera exploring for this run. We actually have things to do for this episode. Actually, you know what? Let's do the one more, ma'am. It's time to get back anyway. Oh, wrong button. Ma'am. All right. What you got for us? Steel rods. Probably never. Deuterium wire. There's been cases. And steel screws. You know, yes, we'll take this. There's a specific use for this, and I'll go over it later. But basically, it works with another alternate recipe that we already have. All right. Last hard drive for this run. Or at least for this exploration. Alright, see you guys back at home. By the way, I had mentioned offhand that we can do this. Thought I would take a moment to show you. Where'd your buddy? Oh, he ran off. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, where was I? I think I mentioned last episode that I wanted to pick up more crystal. We really need to consider maybe turning this into an actual outpost. I just don't want to build a belt highway from crystal all the way home. It's quite a distance. But it would be nice to have a source of this instead of having to drive all the way out here. So I'm going to hang out a little bit here and get some of the, not the silica, but the actual other stuff. The other, that. And then I promise we're going to be home. While I'm waiting for that to manufacture, I decided to take a gander over here, and there is another pod downer, but that is very advanced territory. I would be very surprised if we have what's required to open it, but at least we can get a beacon on it. Yay for Zoop. This is going to be pretty dangerous. Oh, there's gas all around it. Oh, and the flying bugs. Just want to get eyes on it, that's it. Oh, and a spider. All right, we're not going down there. That was Big Spider Mama. If you don't know what those are, then enjoy your innocence for now. You know, we were unable to open this hard drive last time we were here. I don't recall what it was. But we have advanced in our technologies. Rubber. Okay. Nope. Nope, no, no, nope, no, nope, nope. Bye-bye. Alright, we're back at home. Whew, what an adventure. So I brought back a bunch of the crystal stuff. There's some silica in the back of the vehicle. I don't have room for it right now. That's okay, I store it somewhere else. And we have that hard drive that finished. So let's stow away this stuff and check out the hard drive. Case industrial pipe. I don't think so. So the steel pipe does produce at a higher rate than the steel beam, but this is a slower production of an already slow item. You know, if I did the math, I assume that it would come out a little bit more efficient, but I don't really know that it does. So I'm not going to worry about that. There's no reason for me to make a different type of black powder. Oh, and the quickwear Stator. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we want this. We want this. This is good. Very good. All right. Well, that's our last hard drive for now. And we're going to go scout the potential build areas. I want to build Stators this episode, at the very least. And that will help us establish where we're going to do the steel products. We also now have cast screws, so we can upgrade that building, but I think that's probably going to be a later episode. But yeah, let me get going and see how much time we got left, because we spent a lot of time out there in the desert. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I know it's only been a second for you, but it has been many hours for me because I've been busy trying to plan out, where we were going to put our stator manufacturing. We have that large open area here. We have that large open area over there. And while I was doing it, I reordered these belts. So I reran all the goods on these belts and all the supplies and everything so that we would have the more commonly used items on the, what we're going to consider the inside of the highway, because that's going to be the inside of the build order. You know, if we're building around the hub, and so we're more likely to split off that way and that way with the steel. And I just wanted to put them more accessible. But while I was doing all that and started planning for the stators, I started planning also for how we're going to get material over there. Did I want to do the stators over there? And what would that look like? And I kind of came to a realization. And that realization is that we unlocked a new stator recipe that requires quick wire instead of regular wire. And both of those items are made back there at the steel manufacturing area. And by the way, under the cursor there is a building that you haven't seen before because it's new. That's the quick wire manufacturing building. But it made sense once I thought about it to make this at the steel outpost as opposed to up here. And there were some other revelations that kind of were a cascade of recognizing that we're going to start using that area for manufacturing. So I'm going to kick into a time lapse, and I'm going to expand on what the decision was and what all we're going to do. We don't have enough time in this episode for me to stand here and talk about it. Not if we actually want to get it done. So I'm going to tell you about it during the time lapse, and hopefully it'll all make sense why we have to do what we need to do. So let's get to it. It's going to be probably a fairly long time lapse because I got a lot to do. So before we go back to the steel area and start our stator production, we need to expand our power production. As you can see in the center back, I actually snuck over here probably a couple episodes ago and doubled our power input from 900 to 1800. So before going to the steel area to start stators, I checked and noticed that we were actually only a couple hundred megawatts under our 1800 capacity already. So I decided to swing by here first, and just, you know, when you do something like this, it's worth the investment of time to not just do a little bit. And so I'm doubling our power output by doubling the amount of power generators we have. Now this is running on the regular coal, so it's going to eat up almost all of our coal capacity in this area. We might come back and do a little bit more power in the future, but for the most part, this is going to be it for our power allowance in this region. So hopefully we can manage our power before we get to oil without having to start a whole new area. So in regards to stator production, you know, when I originally built out the steel area, I built that little constructor horseshoe where we had the steel ingots coming up in the middle and spreading out. And to be honest, I was being cutesy when I did it. I kind of did it for the camera. I knew it was not a good design. It was very rigid. There was no room for expansion, and I always knew that we were going to have to tear it back down. And I didn't expect to be doing it this soon, but if we're going to build other things over here, we're going to turn this into a proper production outpost, then we need to section things off so that we can focus on each individual product. That also included the need to expand our quick wire production, which is why I went ahead and did this building off camera. But then as I started this, I realized, well, we still needed more. So I expanded that production, and I moved all of our steel beams and steel pipe production off to the side, give them their own cordoned off area that will become proper buildings, so that we could make a proper building here for stators. You know, we could have just tossed a couple of assemblers on the ground and ran the materials into them and had stators, but you know, why not do it right? right now instead of having to come back and change it later. So I took advantage of our layout that we have here with the large open platform. Of course, I added to both sides to expand it a little bit more, but that was always the original design when it was the coal power area, was that we expected to make it wider, and that worked out quite well. And after I threw together the Stator building, which came together fairly smoothly, I decided to go ahead and expand on our encased industrial beam production. We had one machine just sitting off to the side. We didn't have a whole lot of limestone coming in. It had always been a trickle feed. I went ahead and quadrupled the output of it. I have 4 of them up and running now. I had to bring some more limestone in. I upgraded the other limestone to Mark II. And this is eating up most of our steel beam production, but that's okay because next episode we're going to increase our steel production, which is part of why we wanted to go ahead and change this up now. If you recall, we also unlocked the alternate recipe for steel ingots, which is going to allow us to get a 50% increase in our output of steel ingots without having to change our input rates at all, which is amazing. So I'm looking forward to implementing that. All right, stators are done. Oh man, that was a lot of work for just one building. But, it needed to be done. We could have tossed down a couple of assemblers and just got basic stators up and running, but we would have been here probably next episode tearing it right back up. We're going to need a fair amount of stators real soon when we start making motors, and it just would have been silly to throw them down temporarily when we knew that we're going to have to tear it right back up. We need to up our steel production, take advantage of that new steel ingot recipe that we have. And that whole rigid design from steel was going to come up anyway. So it was better to just tackle it all right now. Next episode, we'll come back and we'll deal with the whole steel issue, and we'll turn these into proper buildings. We're just going to leave some half walls for now. We have them sectioned off in their area, and that was what was important. So before we get into taking a tour of this building and a couple of other things here, things I want to talk about, I want to make a small request of my viewers, which is that I would like it if you can take a moment to hit the comment section and give me some feedback on these time lapses. Now I know the time lapses we just did were pretty long. Normally we try to keep them down to about 2 minutes or less. I knew going into it that we were going to do multiple projects all in one shot. I knew it was going to be a long time lapse. That's why I mentioned it at the beginning. And I don't feel like it was too long for all the stuff that we got done. But I do want feedback about, what are your opinions on time lapsing? Are they too long? Are they too frequent? Are they too fast? If we have people who are newer to the game, it might be difficult for them to tell what is actually being done, and maybe they would like to see it a little slower. I can't know that without some feedback. So it would be appreciated if you can just stop by the comment section real quick. Let me know, your opinion on the pacing of them, the frequency of them, the angles of them. Are they hard to tell what's going on? Would you like to see more time lapses? I'm happy to do more time lapses. We built this building over here for Quickwire off camera. I didn't do a time lapse for it. And, that's the thing, right? As a content creator, we have to juggle the balance between pacing of real-time content and high-speed content like driving around the dune buggy, and then time-lapsing content, which is the construction here. And we can't really do this in high speed the way we do with the dune buggies, because in first person it really just becomes nauseating if we go past 200% increase. The dune buggy increase is like 1,000%, and that between 800 and 1,000% seems to be pretty good. So let me know, and that'll help me tweak the future episodes so that they're more appealing, to get to what you guys are enjoying, and maybe cut out some things that you don't. All right, that being said, let's get on to a couple of features here that I want to show. First of all, these tubes here. We took down the ramps that were on the outside, and it wasn't just a cosmetic decision. but a functional decision. So ramps go up by half of a wall height. And this building goes wall height, wall height, wall height, and then a quarter wall, which doesn't work with the ramps. The ramps would overshoot that and it won't line up with the floors. And so they don't work out real well in this scenario. Plus, I like doing this. These are like elevators between floors. Yeah, this works out great. Nice quick transport. I think they look cool. And they get you between floors real fast. And also, while we're up here, I want to show you some math. For the limestone, you can see that bottom belt there. That's coming in at 240 per minute. It's on a pure node. This belt here is 120 per minute. It's a new miner over there. That's a normal node. And these machines for concrete use 45 per minute. So we're eating up 90 of this 120. We have 30 left over going into a merger. The floor below us has 4 machines eating up from the 240 belt, bringing it up, the remainder up here, up this lift. 45 coming off on a final machine with 15 left over for 45 on that one. That allows us to run exactly 8 machines. The 8 machines put out exactly the amount of concrete we need to run 4 assemblers for encased industrial beams. So the math is just great. The other feature I want to show real quick before we leave the area is the smart splitter. It's very important that if you do this kind of setup, that you're aware of the value and importance of using smart splitters early in your line. And the reason I say that is because midway on our production lines, we have overflow management going into sinks. And these are important because we need the coupons. But normally you want these at the beginning of your supply belts. The reason is because once you have a smart splitter sending the overflow into these, that means everything downstream gets all the material it needs before anything goes into the sink. However, the sink is in the middle in this case because of the location of these buildings. And if that were a regular splitter, then it would be splitting 50% off onto this belt right here and 50% onto the belt going into the building. Unfortunately, that would starve the building because this building is using more than 50% of our current production rate. And this belt right here will never back up because the overflow is going into the sink. It's very important. If you don't use a smart splitter and tell the overflow to go out to the main line, then you will starve your upstream buildings. So that's going to be it, I think, for this area for today. We're going to go back home because we have one more thing I want to do at home. All right. So the one thing I wanted to do is that we have one more product to send to the space elevator, and that is the automated wiring. We need 100 of these, and at 1 per production cycle, that's 100 times. So 2,000 cable and 100 stators. So we have all that here. They're doing 2.5 per minute, so 50 minutes or so for one machine. We have 2 machines here, but we're going to do way more than 50 minutes worth of stuff. So I'm going to just feed all of it into just one machine. And the reason I'm doing that is because if we split it between machines, we'll end up with just one of them not done. We'll have 99 of them done, and the products will end up split between the 2 machines. Not a big deal, it doesn't mean anything, but since we're going to be way beyond 50 minutes of doing other stuff long before we're ready to send that up, there's just no reason to bother with it. All right, we're going to head back up to the house. All right, that's a wrap for this episode. we got a lot done, and I'm very pleased with it. We did more than I expected to coming into this episode, but just necessity kind of pushed it, and that's fine. You know, that's what this game's about: tear down and build again. But thank you very much for coming out. You know, if you enjoyed it, definitely hit the like, hit the comment section. Let me know what you think. It's great to hear from you guys. But I think that's about everything. Thanks again for coming out and hanging out with me. And I hope to see you in the next episode.